Evening to y'all.
Hello. Oh, there's an update.
So, what crazy shenanigans has Megara gotten herself into this time?
Oh, you know, she means well. She always means well, but sometimes that well-meaning doesn't turn out as well-meaning as it could have.
What
So,
do you mean? Like, what did you do?
So, there were a couple of troublemaker kids that were vandalizing the circus caravan.
Okay, alright.
So our gunslinger immediately just thought that they were thieves trying to steal our frickin' treasury. So immediately shot one of them in the leg.
I mean, let's be honest. A little kid at a distance who looks to be messing with your wagon would look like a halfling or a gnome.
True,
right?
true. But yeah, so
Yeah.
Megara caught one of the other ones as they started to run away. And
I mean, yeah.
and then it was a case of like, okay, well, we're gonna, we're in the middle of the road. We can't exactly just like, we're not just gonna let him go. We're gonna take him to town or whatever. You know, give him to the authorities that will know what to do with him.
Yeah, man. That's a logical conclusion.
So it came to watching the children overnight, so that way they didn't try and escape, especially since it'd be dangerous at a night time. Megara decided that, so, one of the many things we have at the circus is a displacer beast named Tom Tom, who is an absolute, he's a cat. He's adorable. He's cute.
I'm sorry. Back it up. How the hell did you get a pet displacer beast? And why did you name him Tom Tom? And why is that such an awesome name? Actually, it is because it makes sense. His name is Tom, but since there's multiple of them, become Tom Tom.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact reason why the player named him Tom Tom, but yeah. So it's like, yeah, I know. We'll just have we'll let Tom Tom look after him. So in Megara's eyes, she was just putting the kids in a place where the friendly displacer beast could look after him. In the kids' eyes, Megara was throwing them to a hungry displacer beast.
I mean, yeah, let's be honest. I'd be freaking out too if that happened. It's like, Billy, yeah? Okay. Animals smell fear, right? Yeah. Well, I just pissed them. Oh, dude, that's like liquid fear.
Cause like it occurred to me, cause I'm like, okay, this is absolutely what Megara would think, cause she knows that Tom Tom is an absolute sweetheart. She's been around him too long to remember that. Oh yeah, this place a beast of vicious creatures.
Look, it's the equivalent of a freaking Doberman.
Yeah.
Doberman in media, they look they're horrifying, but if you meet one in real life, they are some of the sweetest and most friendliest dogs.
Yeah.
It's the same the problem is that it's still a displacer beast.
That's one of those. I mean, I would assume like any other cat is just something that appears and it's like, I guess we're taking care of it now.
Yeah. Probably. But no, like
More
the
so laser beast.
Yeah. Well, what else were you gonna say, Andrew?
I was just gonna say, I like to imagine the whole thing of how it's like, almost like in an anime of how it's like we see the situation from Megara's perspective where it's just like, oh, she's just leaving them with a sweet little kitty and how nice it is. And then it's like there's the kids telling where it's like there's just the deep shadows and Megara has a sadistic smile on her face.
Yeah.
And of course, like, now play nicely. Tom Tom will be back soon.
Doesn't help that Megara carries a scythe.
Yeah.
Exactly. They have met the Grim Reaper and she wears an adorable dress.
Yeah, the reason we have a Displacer Beast is because like the whole reason you start off as a circus is that it starts off as another circus called the Celestial Menagerie, and the owner of the Celestial Menagerie is like a 9th level bard, maybe even 10th level, I think.
And at that point, yeah, you could start getting a menagerie of pets and allies.
Yeah, she had a frickin' manticore in her menagerie and a frickin' Pegasus.
Okay, a manticore would be pretty kick-ass in a circus. You know, make it more orientating. I mean, more dangerous.
Yeah, so she basically had a bunch of beasts, and it's like one of the things you can do is you can choose to start as like one of the backgrounds is you actually no, it's not a background, it's something that you can just do regardless of background. It's where it's like, yeah, you were part of the Celestial Menagerie and your characters leave because it turns out that the ringmaster is an absolutely horrible person. So it's like,
comedically whipping the animals because one of them looked at me funny.
to give you that context, Megara was one of the chefs for the Celestial Menagerie, and she was like, "Here, this is a special, this is a special ingredient that I want you to put in all the food that you give to the performers." So Megara did so, only to find out that it was bloody frickin' drugs. She drugs her performers into compliance. She has a whip.
And she didn't even realize.
Yep. She has a whip, which is basically the whip of obedience.
Oh, God. I don't like where that's going.
Yep. The Pegasus. Pegasi are freaking sentient creatures. They can communicate. They're intelligent. She deceived the Pegasus. Yeah. She deceived the Pegasus and then locked him up in a cage, and basically, instead of letting him fly around freely as he wanted, the reason he wanted to join the circus was to be like, I want to show off my acrobatic flying skills. She puts him in a cage and just makes him act like, oh, he's the wise creature. You know, this.
He's flown all over Galar, and he knows all. Ask him anything. And if he can't answer your question, you get 50% off your next ticket.
Nah, it's more of a case of like, she treats him like he's some weird creature because it's like, oh, he's this freak of a horse that is, yeah.
Because let's be honest, the average peasant wouldn't know too much about a Pegasus outside of legend.
She also had a dryad, and if you know one thing about dryads, they have to have a tree. Do you know what her tree was? A small sapling. Yeah, basically a bonsai kept in a freaking pot.
I could imagine a dryad who wants to travel with everyone around, but obviously that's the way it's been going in the area. Doesn't have a lot of trees.
Yeah. She had like a it was like a fish person. I can't remember the exact name of the ancestry, but basically, to punish him, she was drying him out, and they die if they're out of water too long.
Okay, can you please stop? Because it's starting to sound like an actual circus, like a real world one.
That's the point. It's like as the GM described her, she was meant to basically be like what is it, BJ Barnum or whatever?
BT Barnum. Yep.
BT Barnum, yeah.
Yeah, like the circus lost all its majesty when I discovered that the animals are abused.
See, that's why I like Cirque du Soleil, since they don't use animals.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of performing animals, but the problem is that, except for a very few playful animals, you're basically using them to get them before.
Yeah.
Like, I get dogs performing, they love it. But if you're getting like a lion to do whatever you want, or an elephant, yeah.
And yeah, that's where it's like in our circus, it's made clear that all the animal performers are there like willingly. It's like the bear that you get had a very strong relationship with its trainer, and in fact, once the trainer gets murdered and the bear becomes very aggressive, and if you calm the bear down, it's like you know it becomes friendly again.
Like, it's obvious. Like, so having a druid in the party for this campaign would be like really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
A druid or a ranger. Well, more a druid because speak to animals would really help.
There's an orc ballerina that you can recruit, who she makes an orc ballerina. Yes.
I know what it probably would be, but I can't have to imagine work boss in a tutu.
The thing is, Argyle, I've spent too much time with you, so when you say an orc ballerina, I just go, oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like, that's not unnormal for us. It's not normal. It's normal. It's almost past 10 at this point.
Yeah, so an orc ballerina who became best friends with a mammoth, and she performs with the mammoth.
That's just made of wind.
Yeah.
That's probably what... Okay, when this campaign is over, maybe someday you should run it. It legit does sound like a good adventure, and it does seem like a lot of fun.
Maybe.
So, at least tell me that the circus leader, that the ringmaster got what's coming to her.
Yes, we ended up facing her after she tried to burn down our circus. And we took her in. We didn't kill her because again, Megara wouldn't let them kill her because it's like, you know, even if she is a horrible person, Megara was at least like, we can still at least, you know, put her in prison and hopefully she is redeemed.
So, taking the lawful good approach.
Yeah. And it's actually a thing I've come to sort of think about with Megara as a character. I kind of like the idea that the reason she has a scythe, and the reason why she doesn't hesitate to kill people, is maybe it is the case of Megara will offer people a chance at redemption, but if they refuse that redemption, she won't hesitate to kill them, because given that Megara was once an evil dragon that's been reborn, she's like, okay then, if you don't want to be redeemed in this life, be redeemed in the next.
I can see that. I like that. It's actually a good way to look at it. That and also would be... one of those things to remind people that, look, just because I'm lawful, I can be lawful good doesn't mean I can't just be lawful evil too. Like she's totally chill. Well, I've had enough practice to know the right ways to clean blood off the side.
Yeah, you should just press the digitation.
Exactly. No. Secret. No. What she's been practicing is, what's the best scent to fuck after you do it? Some people like a lemony scent, others a lavender. I'm more of a cinnamon.
Still trying to get that overquill.
Yeah. Because it's let's see how many times.
You know, you can change the order so that way it's like actual number order.
Oh, I was trying to do it alphabetically. So.
Yeah.
So times you've seen it use barrage 8. How many times does it to make it evolve?
It's self-damage that's got to do.
Whoa, what?
Wait, what? But that doesn't do self-damage.
I thought it... Wait. I could have sworn it was... Was I thinking something else that has to do... Ah! I think it was something else. So you have to do it bar barrage in strong style. Ah! I know what I was thinking of, where I was getting mixed up. Because they're both fish. It's Basculegion that needs to do the self-damage.
Oh.
No, you just you're doing the right thing for Quillfish, but it's got to be in strong style.
Okay.
Bar barrage, strong style, 20 times.
Well, heck. Well,
Yeah.
well, I'll go heal up, restore that PP. Alright.
I just love the name of it, Overquill. It is.
That is a nice, decent bit of wordplay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make me think of overkill. Overkill.
And that's the point, because it is just a larger quillfish with huge ass spikes all over it.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? Remember that one episode of the Powerpuff Girls where they fought the giant kaiju with the robot?
Huh? Oh, did you say 4? Okay, did you say... It sounded like you said they fucked the giant kaiju.
That, no! Your brain's in places, Argle.
Yeah, I know, that's why I hesitated. I was like, I doubt that's what he said.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, maybe it was Fiji in Japan, sure, but no, not here in America. Talking about giant robot fight.
Yeah, I can't. And there's so many Powerpuff Girl episodes, I can't remember more.
One of the best ones. Tonium was like, "Oh, what if I lose you?" And then he makes a giant fighting robot for him, and they don't use it until they fight a giant puppet monster who.
Yeah.
They have to use. And then they destroyed all of the city of Townsville, and they were told never to use it again.
Yeah.
Then I remember that one episode where they fought the broccoli aliens and they had to eat them.
And people wonder how vor fetishes happen.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, a lot of Cartoon Network shows at the time were on drugs sometimes. Well, that and the Donkey Kong Country cartoon. I was just think about that and all those weird songs. Somebody greenlit this. Somebody greenlit it. This is why. I think I'm done. I'm getting tired. I'm gonna bam. Although,
Fair enough.
Game Saturday?
Should be.
Yeah.
Sorry. Brain fart. Didn't remember.
I forget, like, I don't know, I know it's in the art of it that there's like 3 of them in there, but just seeing all 3 of them open their mouths at once really drives home that fact, and it's kind of weird. Cool, but weird. So, one thing I'm trying to think, where is the Prince of the Sea book in Diamond and Pearl?
Where do you think it would be?
I guess in the library. Like, I don't remember running into it.
It's in Canalay Library.
Okay, I guess I'll have to take a second look there sometime.
I mean, I could just read it out to you if you want right now.
I mean, I guess, but like, I do kind of want to take a look at it myself for
Okay.
a bit. Maybe I should actually swap back for a tiny bit. Maybe I'll switch out to the marshlands for a little bit. Need a little change of scenery.
Mm-hmm. So, oh yeah, so you still haven't caught the other
No.
two? Yeah, given them a rest for a while.
If I run into them, I will try to catch them, but I am not in a hurry. I'll just put it that way. That you describe that one as the easiest fills me with the fear.
Yeah, as I said, because one of them is you have to do it while on the back of your Bastille Legion, which it's not the easiest thing to control at the calmest of times.
Yeah.
And it also means that you typically can't see the wild Pokemon that are attacking you because they're getting obscured.
Yeah. So I'll evolve this little floof. And it has become Grand Majestic Floof.
Indeed. Okay. So, a joke I made today also that I forgot to mention, and I don't think anyone can challenge me on this assertion. Elves are born with resting bitch face.
Yeah, that seems to match up with most depictions I've seen. And it's something that probably goes in line with the, yes, we are wonderfully beautiful immortal beings, and... and it's not you human mortals' fault that you are, such imperfect beings.
I think that's one of the reasons why I've never really been a fan of elves. So they are usually depicted as assholes.
Like, when you got some of the more, like, energetic anime style type stuff, I think that works out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Oblivion certainly didn't help. They weren't exactly... I mean, no character in Oblivion looks good, but the elves especially kind of looked weird.
And then you had the frickin' Thalmor by the time of Skyrim.
Yeah.
And it's like... it's a funny thing. I feel like... I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever really played an elf. Like, I think maybe I did a half-elf once for just, like, a random D&D thing, but... yeah, like... usually they're, like, I mean, it doesn't help that I'm not that fond of, like, the most bog-standard races anyway, but, like, the attitude they have does tend to kind of make them feel like, why would I want to be this person? I mean, thinking on it, like, I know that, like, I have Zosma, who's just cocky and full of herself, but I feel like that's in kind of a more fun way.
Yeah. It's definitely more of a... I would say it's overconfidence, but at the same time, she can certainly back that up.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when she doesn't, then it's a real issue.
Yeah. Big mush.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've lost dang it.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
I'm just gonna delete.
Just keep going.
I mean, I'm
You'll
just gonna
eventually hit.
the count on the screen just because, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll get there eventually, and it'll just be like, oh man, it can evolve.
You know, I think it would be interesting if we get a Parasect regional form that is actually like without the mushroom.
Yeah, like seeing how it would grow without the mushroom infesting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume it probably wouldn't be a Parasect. It would probably be a new evolution altogether.
Yeah. Because, I mean, freaking parasitism is from the freaking name.
Yeah.
Still, I like what I did with it. Still freaky, but yeah.
I think it's funny that, right? That's like, I've become more excited about potential regional forms than I have just about new Pokemon. So I think like regional forms can really like change up, Pokemon that we already know. Like frickin', I absolutely love Galarian, Meowth, and Berserker. My favorite version of the Meowth line.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, like, it's a pretty cool concept, because, you know, it brings out this idea of, like, oh, what happens when an animal gets introduced to a new environment. And it's kind of something that also feels like it lends some credence to that idea of, there being kind of an evolution to things like, in the adaptation actually how evolution works kind of sense.
Yeah.
Because there can be a thing of like, yeah, you can make the case that that's still kind of true for Pokemon that are based on like the same kind of animal. Where it's like, oh yeah, all these rat Pokemon are kind of all, you could argue, evolved from kind of the same similar thing. But on the other hand, there is something to be like, oh yeah, it does look like this thing. Or, or there could be the things interesting in the aspect of, like with how there's the running theory that the Galarian forms of the legendary birds may not in fact be the same creatures, but are just similar ones that are confused with them.
Yeah. But it's like a strong theory at the moment is that every game that has regional forms is probably going to have a regional Meowth. Because that's just one of those things where cats are so worldwide that they do adapt to different regions.
That would make sense. And I feel like regional variants also does a good job of covering the issue you have sometimes with some Pokemon, where like you run into that thing of like, oh, okay, this is just this game's version of Pidgey, or this is just this game's version of Geodude, or whatever, and
yeah,
like there can be some interesting designs. Like I like the frickin' what was it, Boldor from
Roggenrola.
Yeah, Roggenrola. Yeah, like those can be cool, but it's like at the same time you do kind of run into that issue of, yeah, this is just basically the same thing. Why did you spend the time to do this when you already have this thing? And you're still kind of doing that with a regional variant, but at the same time, like it's something old but new. It's like it feels almost like you're not pretending, even though you kind of are, to do a new same thing. Yeah. Words. But yeah, it's just really, like, it's neat, and I think it's one of those things that also makes it really fun to try to predict as well, because when, like, it's one thing to come up with like Fakemon and all that and come up with stuff and just see how it is, and you know there's some fun in that, but there's something to having a variation on a theme. It's like, okay, you know you have this general idea of what to work with. But what if you were to, like, you know, take this and then add on or change a such and such thing? It's neat.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that we might get a regional variant for Tauros in Gen 9.
Maybe it makes sense.
Spain's national animal is the bull.
Mm-hmm. And imagine if they do have an event that really is like the running of the bulls.
Yeah. But then it's like, would they have a regional variant Tauros, and then would they have like a legendary that is also a bull?
I mean, it could work out.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna have to have a look at now. Like, what animals is Spain known for?
I am still okay. I'm still hoping that we get a windmill a la Don Quixote.
Yeah.
And it would have a gimmick where it transforms between a giant and a windmill form. It would naturally at least have a flying type for wind and all that.
Ooh. A lynx? So, actually, have we seen? Yeah, maybe we'll get a shinx. Maybe I doubt they'll do a regional form of shinx, but maybe they would.
Something at least.
Maybe a new wolf Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because we don't really have a wolf Pokemon outside of.
I mean, there is that Electrike is kind of one.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's also the Lycanroc.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Lycanroc.
I was
feel
just
like
gonna say.
Lycanroc's more coyote.
I mean, Lycan's in the name, but
Good
like,
point. Yeah.
but like, there is kind of that aspect of we don't have like a normal ass wolf Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like we've got like dogs. Yeah. I'm thinking at least on a mythological front. Like there's the D&D version, but like wasn't the original like monster named Tarrasque from like Spanish folklore?
I think so.
I want to say it was either Spain or France, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Tarrasque is a fearsome legendary dragon-like mythological hybrid from Provence, in southern France, yeah. But, yeah, we could potentially get a Tarrasque, just because Spain and France kind of have crossover in a lot of areas.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Hmm. Maybe I could see this as being more of like a sort of DLC expansion thing that they would do, unless they do somehow fit it into. It wouldn't really make sense to fit it into the main region, but I could see like a side region that they add as DLC where it's like based around the whole El Dorado.
Hmm.
Or hell, maybe even like some kind of legendary Pokemon that is like, oh, this legendary Pokemon was like found in the Golden City. Because it was the Spaniards that
Yeah, the conquistadors.
yeah, the conquistadors, that's it, yeah.
I could see them trying to be careful about that at the same time, because that also was kind of a horrible thing. With what they ultimately did with all the natives, but like, yeah, like if they did kind of want to, like, I mean, that is kind of part of the history of the whole thing, and like there could be something to like, oh yeah, like they could do that as DLC, kind of like what happened with the Isle of Armor and all that, where it's like you go off to a little place or something.
And I would say that, like, yeah, they would be careful, but they wouldn't turn away from it because, as Legends has shown, they aren't shy to deal, like, to sort of have representation of cultures that have been kind of screwed over. The native people of the region that Hisui is based on were kind of screwed over by the Japanese.
Right? Yeah. The Ainu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like the biggest problem I have. It's like when I think of Spain, I can think more about like Spain in terms of like the military sense in like during like frickin' all those medieval European wars. I can't actually think of it as a standalone, like, what about Spain itself? I can think of their conquests.
Yeah, I can kind of get that. I would say the other thing that comes to mind for me, at least, is I know there was a brief period of time where there was a bit of a tug and pull between Christian and Muslim rule.
Yeah.
I feel like there could maybe be something to that. Although I'm not entirely sure how I would think to kind of go about that.
Oh. I did not realize this was Spanish. But apparently, the tale of Saint George.
And remind me the significance of this?
So Saint George was a knight that slew a dragon that was terrorizing the populace.
Huh.
Which historians believe nowadays was probably just based on an actual story of, you know, a knight, the knight Saint George probably slaying something like a crocodile or something like that.
Hmm. He slew a mighty Fuecoco.
And it might also be, I think, looking more into it, the Legend of Saint George might also be where the stereotypical fairy tale of the dragon kidnapping the princess comes from.
Oh. I mean, I guess that's kind of a thing that you don't really think about. Yeah, those stories have to start somewhere.
Yeah. In fact, that's funny because that is how I originally created Melina. It was a writing assessment that I had to do for my English class. I don't think this was in, like year 10 or grade 10 for you.
Mm-hmm.
And like the teacher was basically like, yeah, take a classic fairy tale and give it a new interpretation or whatever. And so for me, I was like, okay, instead of the dragon kidnapping the princess and being saved by a knight, what if the dragon was the princess and she was rescuing a knight from a trickster fairy?
Interesting.
Because again, it's the same thing of like how fairies are usually, like fairies or whatever, are usually kind of helpful in fairy tales. Like the fairy godmother.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, based a bit on like Sleeping Beauty. Which also might be another where, yeah, Sleeping Beauty is also a good point of like the princess being locked up in a tower protected by a dragon, except for in this case the dragon was a witch. Or a sorceress.
Mm-hmm.
Actually no, I can't remember now if Maleficent, I think she was always meant to be like a dark fae. I can't remember now.
Hmm.
Because I know it's like the movie Maleficent sort of depicted her as, yeah, she was a fae that just kind of got screwed over, so she became vengeful. But I can't remember if that's what, like, in the original version of the story, if she was just like a witch, a sorceress, or if she was a fae.
Yeah. And Disney does tend to kind of take liberties with some details like that.
Yeah. I know, people like, I've seen people be like, oh, you know, Disney have like, the versions that Disney have told aren't like good because they're these, you know, these friendly, or what would you call it, like light-hearted retellings. I'm like, to be fair, just because they've changed it to be more like family friendly, that doesn't make it bad. It makes it more accessible, which means they still get the point of the story across.
And there's something to be said for how all, like, you know, stories change over time and all that. Like, I think there's something to be said for, yes, we should make sure to preserve these previous versions of the stories and not just let them be overwritten by, well, let's be honest, what has by now become a very corporate interest in the tellings of these stories. Yeah, it's... Yeah, because like there is something to be said for making sure things can be, you know, accessible for modern audiences, and you know, there's just I'm just going around in circles at this point.
Yeah. And so yes, the Sleeping Beauty or Little Briar Rose, it was she was cursed to sleep for 100 years by an evil fairy. So yes, Maleficent has always been a fairy.
Hmm.
Like some other stuff that I know of, like apparently Beauty and the Beast was originally written to be like a sort of encouragement for like girls that were being, you know, married off to you know, for political reasons or whatever. It's like, you know, you may be being married off to a horrendous person, but maybe there's some good in them.
Yeah. It's kind of depressing, but on the other hand, it's like, yeah, that tracks.
And I think the strangest one is apparently Little Mermaid.
Do tell?
So the whole story of Little Mermaid is actually a religious story.
Yeah, I think I remember. Wasn't it a thing that, like, she doesn't have a soul in
Yeah.
the original version?
Yep. And she wants a soul, so that's why she goes through the transformation or whatever. And the idea is she basically dies either way, but because she died as a human, she has a soul, and she has to work for the Lord for 1,000 years before she can actually officially join heaven or something like that.
This fucking sounds like some new Arcadian propaganda.
Yeah, oh my god, yes! Damn, I'm down disappointed with myself, I never did that.
Well, maybe a reference can come up one of these days. And maybe what she'll mention, it's like, oh, what are some fairy tales from your kingdom? Just mentions that one. That's fucked up.
Oh god. The, you know, Mystera basically having the whole story of, Izanami and Izanagi. That's a messed up one as well.
Yeah, wasn't that one of the don't look back as you take her from the underworld type things, or am I thinking of something else?
You're thinking of a Greek mythology there.
I could have
it
sworn
was
there was a
similar.
Japanese version. Yeah, maybe I'm just thinking of the similarities.
Yeah, in the Japanese story, I can never remember if it's Izanami or Izanagi because similar names. But
I know Izanami is the death god, so...
yeah, so it's Izanami. Yeah, so she was the wife of Izanagi, I believe. Or it might have been sister, or it could have been both, knowing mythology.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she was invited into the underworld, I believe, and she had a meal, but it's like, oh, if you eat while in the underworld, you are cursed with death. So she became a rotting corpse, and she wanted her husband to come and save her, but when he saw her corpse-like form, he turned his back on her and left her, which turned her into a vengeful spirit. I think that's a rough, from memory kind of. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that seems about right, because that's kind of the unfortunate case for many. It seems like that is a big cultural thing to do, is to just that thing of, yeah, you can't have that mixing of life and death and all
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it was, so while giving birth to the fire god, Izanami was fatally burnt and went to the land of darkness. Izanagi followed her there, but she had eaten the food of the underworld and could not leave. She became angry when he lit a fire and saw her rotting and covered with maggots. He fled, and yeah, that betrayal caused her to become angry, and so he locked her in the underworld by placing a large stone over the entrance.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Of course, this is also in the same story where their first child together was deformed and would become the god Ebisu. But they say that the reason why Ebisu was so deformed was because Izanami spoke first, which women shouldn't do, apparently.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Man, it's one of those things where it's like, you really sometimes with these mythologies just gotta be like, it was another time.
Yeah. I think that's also why I really like Greek mythology, because at least in Greek mythology there is no like pretense or like, oh, the gods will save us or anything like that. It's like they're just like, no, the gods are just straight up dicks, just like normal people.
The gods are the players of a Sims game, and they do not care for the Sims.
It's like, yeah, the king of the gods, who is great and powerful and should be respected, may decide one day to come down and rape you just because he can.
Mm-hmm. Stay classy, Zeus.
Yeah. So that's one of the funny things I've heard about the game Hades.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, if you finish it multiple times, like the story is about, like, you know, you play as one of the sons of Hades who wants to go see his mother, Persephone, I think it is.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
of course,
Persephone.
Hades is like, yeah, and Hades is like, you can't leave the underworld. And so that's the whole story of the game, is you're basically trying to fight your way out to go visit his mother. And New Game Plus continues on every time, and I think it's like after you've completed the game like 10 times, on the 10th ending, when you go to fight Hades, he's just like, you know what, I give up. You can go visit your mother, and then it ends up being like this big reunion of all the gods just having a party.
Nice.
And it is also a game where you get to pet the doggo. The big 3-headed doggo.
Yay. I too wish to pet Cerberus. Well, I find that funny because at the same time that reminds me of like the frickin' picture that got shown around Tumblr for a bit. That is like, it's the picture of Persephone crying while next to Cerberus. And Hades asks her, "Why are you crying?" "I don't have enough hands."
Yeah.
It's like she can't pet all 3 heads at once. But yeah, it's like, it's interesting seeing all these things that come out of mythology where it's like, okay, why does this myth exist? And it's like, it can be something like, oh, you know, it's an attempt to recontextualize like history and like try to understand past events, or coming up with reasons for why things are the way that they are. Or you even have things that are almost straight up just like, the author of the tale clearly had an axe to grind, and just needed to come up with it's like, and that's why I shouldn't have to wear pants in the house.
Yeah, like a good classic one from Greek is also the story of Scylla and Chabadeus, which is just straight up a warning of, hey, this particular area of the sea is very dangerous because there's like constant whirlpools on one side and like jagged rocks on the other, making it very dangerous for any ship to go past. So they contextualize that as a misbegotten child cursed by the gods and thrown into the sea, and a sea monster.
Which is like, god damn, that's a metal way to convince sailors to, hey, you should probably avoid this spot.
Yeah. And I believe it's also where the original, the origin of Between a Rock and a Hard Place comes from. Because it used to be like between Chabadeus and Scylla.
Yeah, that makes sense. Who dis? Oh, it's Mr. Yeah, hey, Adamant. Hey, if it isn't Liberty. Good timing. I found some treasure you'd be interested in. Did that make your ears perk up? Happy to fill you in if you're curious. Yeah, I'm up for treasure. Though here, friendship is the treasure that we... Okay. you all know where... You can fill in the rest yourself. That's the Survey Corps spirit. Curiosity is what moves science forward, according to good old Mr. Professor. But come to think of it, what I've found seems too valuable to just let you in on it for free. You'll need to work a little. Okay, you could be playing me, but on the other hand, I've learned to respect you by this point. Let's see where this goes. Here's the deal. I want you to show me what's in your mind, your heart, your soul. Short bound... Oh, okay. This is post-game, and I don't exactly have my A-team on at the moment. See what? Oh, come on, I promise. This will be exciting. Or did you run out of excitement after everything on Mount Coronet? I mean... Mount Coronet was more excitement than I really needed. Yeah, I will challenge you on that later. For now, I've got a large spiky ball to make spikier. Man, it is so satisfying to take these things down after running into them all the time when I first walked here.
Again, as I've said before, this game has burnt Carnivine into my memory. I can no longer treat it as a forgettable Pokemon.
Yeah. And just heck, I mean, like, there's lots of Pokemon that would be terrifying to suddenly see, but, like, that thing with his just freaking wide eyes and teeth, it's ooh. He's ready. That is a very spiky boy.
Yes, yes it is.
So there was a Basculin. That needs a certain self-damaging move.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where's the... Oh yeah, there's the dude. Okay, so... You will get placed here. And I probably have a Basculin in here somewhere. Alright, I can search. B. Or I guess I don't have a Basculin.
Yeah, if I recall, they are... There's only like one area I remember seeing them in, and they are pretty skittish.
Yeah. Time for another change of scene. Or... Oh shit, it's already past 2:30.
Oh shit, it is too.
Oh. Catching a Basculin will be... I guess it'll be next time. Well, I'll see how much I feel like doing off stream. But at least I know what I gotta do next. Return to the village and do a save. maybe I should also return those satchels. I mean, I have gotten a lot of... Yeah, let's see how long it takes to go through all these.
Yeah. That looks like it's going to take at least a good 3 minutes. Actually not as large. Yeah, it's going to take 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Look at all those freaking merit points you have.
Man, I gotta spend them.
Yeah, at least spend them on stuff that you know you're gonna need.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so there has been some interesting discoveries with this game.
Such as?
So apparently data miners have found that all the data is there for mega evolutions. They did not, that same data wasn't there for Sword and Shield. So it's like, why would they re-enable all that data?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that they considered it and they decided to just not implement it, but...
Maybe.
That would be cool if that's something they have planned for DLC down the line. Like I know it was a thing where, they had walking data in Sun and Moon that they thought was going to be implemented in the next one, but they wound up not.
Yeah, but that one feels like it was probably because of hardware limitations.
Yeah, my god, the 3DS choked trying to run Sun and Moon.
Yeah. And the other thing is that all the new Pokemon, like the regional variants and whatnot, actually do have abilities. So it's like, yeah, they're already planned to be able to transfer.
Nice. Yeah, hopefully we'll get to see something done with that.
Mm-hmm.
And closing out the stream with a thank you to viewers and a thank you to you, Argyle, for hanging out and helping provide content during the first portion of this with the talk about Megara.